not an educational channel, I do feel the need to repeat this one, and I should be doing it way more often than I do, as me being clueless also obviously means that I should not offer anyone any advice. No one should learn anything from me, probably not even me myself. Having said that, I do need to revise my knowledge of the present perfect tense and especially the past perfect tense, which is what I'm going to do in this video. For while that cannot be considered an advanced grammar, it is definitely a building block which requires stability. And in my case, it is slightly shaky. I can use it, I know when to use it, but obviously it is better to be safe than sorry later on, especially with a not so insignificant amount of money at stake considering the exams require payment. Besides that, it is a tense used in writing for storytelling purposes, narration, recounting certain events in particular order, and I do sense that I might need that for, well, my own books. So, how is it formed? It is not exactly difficult, fortunately, for all we have to do is to combine the past form of the verb have, namely had, and the past participle of the main verb, and its main use is for events finished at some point in the past. Examples: I had sent, I had seen. Truly nothing exorbitantly difficult. There are some small pitfalls even at this stage, which is the negative. For while here, in case of the past perfect, had not is the correct negative, whereas a phrase such as she hadn't her glasses would be obviously incorrect because you'd have to use did not have. That is a little something for me to be careful about. Also, the fact that I have not got in the present tense does not simply transform into I had not got in the past simple, meaning that phrase is only acceptable when we want to form the past perfect of the verb get, which honestly is something that I would never do, or at least I really hope so, for it simply feels unnatural. But knowing that it exists, in addition to the simple usage of the past perfect, I do believe that it is worth mentioning here as a reminder, similarly to some fringe usage of the present continuous, or being able to differentiate between using when and where in the figurative sense. So this is it for this video. In the next one I will go over the usage and maybe some other things to consider, to be aware of. In the meantime though, that would be it, and moving on to the more interesting to me part of this video, and of every video actually, which always carries a significantly smaller load of my nonsense. Rapid arrows, Yaroslav Foglar's, I would say, ultimate creation, and their venture into the world of journalism. For them and for now, it might be a simple way to bring their friends and classmates together, keep them entertained and informed, for a small fee, but soon it will grow into something much more significant for everyone of the other side and even the rest of the city, as the contents of their little gazette shall evolve and encompass much more than the simple topic of the yarders being obnoxious and even violent towards the boys and the girls of the other side. So in the previous video I took care of the introduction, and now for the actual newspaper. Important knowledge for the youngsters of the other side, such as who played with whom, where to go if you want to play football, who argued with whom, such arguments presented as objectively as possible, including personal opinions on such disputes, who was right and who was wrong, according to the best judgment Rapidaros could possibly offer. Then also a little bit of spying around the yards, inequities and such, and even offers to exchange various collectibles, the request of some of the friends of the club who had learned about the Gazette before the others and wanted to use it as sort of an advertisement for their trades, while the highlight of this magazine of theirs was a retelling of the events that eventually had led to the formation of the very club. The first dispute with the Dark Riders, told from the perspective of the founding fathers of this most famous club of the entire surrounding area, as they were escaping the persecution of the aforementioned. So with that all written, now they had to organize the circulation itself, and they had to get it right. Otherwise, things could easily turn sour, which was not anything they wanted. And so while it was a grand happening for all the boys and the girls of the other side, much was happening behind the scenes, having been through something similar before, obviously on a much smaller scale. They had some idea how to keep things smooth and clean, so they did some announcements. They had those interested subscribe in advance, and using those, well, the domicile to be precise, 5 routes had been created before even publishing the first issue, with certain time limits in place to prevent hoarding. It would create this sort of a relay, really. The readers would note down the time when they received their copy and when they handed it over to the next person. The cycle would continue until 9 p.m., obviously curfew, and would begin anew the next day. While this system existed, impatience overcame it, although in a somewhat orderly manner, so the readers would arrange with the person before them on the route to meet and read together. So the circulation was even faster than our heroes initially thought it would be, and the total was almost 80 young boys and girls of the other side willing to pay a small fee to be able to read it as soon as possible. And that was only the first issue. By the time the second was in circulation, many improvements had been made, such as a hardcover, better typesetting and composition, layouts, coloring, obviously the contents as well, especially the hardcover, was nigh essential since the first issue came back in a rather sorry state. Although not missing a single page, all these meant the popularity skyrocketing. So while the initial thought may have been connected to the question of income, now it was truly a work of passion and pride. It meant entertainment for the members of the club, and also some practice in writing, and even wittiness in efforts to bring their readers the best they could possibly offer. And I will continue in the next video.